For many of us, tackling the SAT reading test, it can feel a bit like wandering through a thick forest sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
We tend to focus on, the individual trees, the facts, the details, just what a passage is saying.
Right, the content.
But today, we're going to shift that focus. We want to look underneath at the architecture of it all, explore the how and the why. Specifically, we're diving deep into rhetoric questions. We're pulling this straight from Chapter 7 of the official SAT study guide.
And rhetoric, that's a word we really need to unpack first. Because, let's be honest, it sometimes gets a bad rap, doesn't it?
It really does. You hear rhetoric and think maybe empty promises or, overly fancy language that's trying to mislead.
Exactly. But that's not what we're talking about here. Not for the SAT anyway. We're using its broader and I think more fundamental definition. The study of writing or speaking, basically how communication works, how persuasion happens. And this isn't some new idea. This goes way back. Aristotle, the ancient Greeks, they studied this formally. They understood its power.
That's such a key point. So for the SAT, it's that deeper analytical sense of communication. That's what matters.
Precisely.
And our mission, really, with this deep dive today, is to give you an edge. A way to understand the author's craft so well, it's almost like you can anticipate their moves.
Yeah, get inside their head a bit.
We're going to break down all the skills you need, the main strategies, the types of rhetoric questions you'll actually see, and crucially, the official tips. All directly from the guide. We want you to leave this feeling really equipped, like you got a solid handle on it, but, without feeling totally buried in information.
Exactly. Because mastering these rhetoric questions, it's about moving past just like surface level comprehension.
Right.
It's about understanding how an author builds their text, why they made certain choices, every structural decision, every word they picked, how they built their arguments. It's all about that intentional craft.
The way they guide you, the reader.
That's it. How they guide you.
Okay, so let's map this out. Rhetoric questions, they are absolutely critical on the SAT reading test. You can almost think of them as, like, the analytical partners to the information and ideas questions.
That's a good way to put it.
While information and ideas asks about the what info is there, rhetoric questions focus on the how, the method, the author's strategic choices.
And really, if you want to nail these questions, it often boils down to two core things. Figuring out the author's main purpose and understanding their point of view.
Okay, purpose and point of view.
Get those two, and you're not just reading passively, you're actively engaging with the author's intent. And that makes a huge difference to your score.
All right, let's start breaking this down then. There are 5 main types of rhetoric questions according to the guide. Let's tackle them one by one, with strategies for each. First up, analyzing word choice.
Okay.
And like you said earlier, this isn't just about knowing fancy words.
No, definitely not. It's about why the author chose that specific word or phrase, or even a pattern of language. How do those choices affect the meaning, or the tone, or just the overall style of the passage?
So the effect of the word.
Exactly, the effect. The official guide really hammers this home. Don't just focus on the dictionary definition. Think about the impact.
Impact. Got it.
Why did they say someone strolled instead of just walked? Or call something decrepit instead of just old?
Right, there's a different feeling there.
Precisely. Each word carries connotations, like extra layers of meaning or emotion. And authors use these, often very subtly, to shape how you, the reader, perceive something, or to make you feel a certain way.
Without directly stating it.
Often, yes. Your job is to spot that subtle influence, that manipulation sometimes.
It's almost like a painter choosing a very specific shade of blue. Not just any blue. That blue, because it creates a certain mood.
That's a great analogy. Exactly like that. You're looking for the specific flavor those words add.
Okay, that makes sense. Moving on to the second type, analyzing text structure. This one's about how the author organizes the whole passage, how they shape it, and importantly, how each piece, maybe a sentence or a paragraph, fits into the bigger picture.
Yeah, how it contributes to the whole thing. And this can be pretty straightforward sometimes, like simple organization.
Yeah.
Or it can be much more complex, cause and effect maybe, problem solution, compare contrast.
So how do you approach that when you're reading?
The guide suggests kind of a constant mental balancing act. You need to track the actual content, the information,
Okay.
but also pay attention to the how, the structure. How is this information being presented? Text structure questions often need you to step back a bit, think more abstractly.
Abstractly. How so?
Well, for example, the guide mentions how a passage might show a character's, say, reservations about something.
Uh,
It might not just say she had reservations. Instead, the text might be structured around her internal conflict, showing opposing thoughts, maybe describing her hesitant actions.
so the structure itself reveals her state of mind.
Exactly. Understanding that how gives you a much deeper grasp of what the author is doing strategically.
So it's not just finding the topic sentence of a paragraph, it's understanding its job, its function in the whole piece.
Precisely. Its function.
Okay.
Hmm.
Third area,
Yeah.
analyzing point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned this earlier. It's more than just first-person or third-person narration, right?
Oh, much more. It includes the author's or the narrator's stance, their attitude toward the subject, any bias they might have. It's the whole perspective they're coming from.
So you constantly need to be asking.
Whose voice am I hearing?
Yeah.
And where are they coming from? What's their angle? Are they trying to be objective? Are they advocating for something? Are they critical? Cynical?
The guide has that example about Jordan, right?
Yeah.
Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, that's a good one. So the question might be something like, Jordan's stance is best described as, and then you get options like A, an idealist, B, an advocate looking for compromise, C, a neutral observer, or D, a scholar researching history. To answer that, you'd have to look closely at how Jordan talks about, say, the Constitution or impeachment. If Jordan consistently discusses finding middle ground, suggests ways to resolve conflicts, even while talking legal theory, then option B, the advocate seeking compromise, starts to look really strong. It shows their point of view isn't just abstract principle like A or total detachment like C. It's focused on practical solutions.
Right, so their way of discussing it reveals their underlying stance.
Exactly. It shows the author's strategic positioning.
That really highlights how the SAT pushes beyond just surface reading. Okay, next category. Analyzing purpose.
The why?
The why. These questions are pretty direct, aren't they? Why did the author write this? Or why did they include this specific paragraph or sentence? You'll often see the words purpose or function.
Yeah, they're asking about the author's goal. And the guide gives a really useful tip here. Get in the habit, as you read, of asking yourself, why this passage? What's the main point here? What's the author trying to get across?
So be proactive about it.
Exactly. Be an active analyst, not just a passive reader. And another tip, look for those rhetorical verbs in the answer choices.
Gotcha.
Words like criticize, support, present, introduce, challenge, advocate, illustrate. Those verbs often capture the essence of the author's purpose.
Okay.
Sometimes the purpose is stated clearly. Other times, it's more subtle. You have to infer it from the word choice, the tone, the structure. Being able to spot both is really key.
So it's not just what they want us to know, but why they're telling us in that particular way. Have you seen examples where the real purpose feels kind of hidden, almost like sneaky?
Yeah.
How do you spot that?
Oh, definitely. That's a great point, and it gets to a more advanced skill. An author might seem like they're just informing you, presenting facts.
Right, like they're neutral.
Exactly, but their underlying purpose might actually be to gently persuade you to their side. You spot this by looking for patterns. Are they consistently using loaded language, words with strong emotional weight? Are they only showing you evidence that backs up their point, ignoring anything that contradicts it? What's their tone like? Is it subtly dismissive when mentioning other views?
Okay.
Real mastery here means seeing the difference between what an author says they're doing and what their words and structure actually achieve.
That's a really useful distinction. Okay, finally, the fifth type, analyzing arguments.
Right. This one focuses on passages that are mainly trying to persuade you of something.
Okay.
It's about breaking down the argument. What's the main claim? Are there counterclaims mentioned? What reasoning does the author use? And, super important, what evidence supports it all?
And that evidence could be lots of things.
Yeah, facts, stats, quotes from experts, case studies, even personal stories sometimes. These questions might also ask about the persuasive techniques used, vivid language maybe, or appeals to emotion.
This is where, as you said, it feels like being a detective. You're sifting through the evidence the author lays out.
Absolutely. And like any good detective, you need to look for clues. Keywords are your friends here.
Okay, like what?
For evidence, look for things like, for example, because studies show, or direct mentions of data or sources.
Got it.
For contrast, or when the argument shifts, keep an eye out for however, but, despite, on the other hand, although.
Standard transition words.
Yep. And for conclusions, words like therefore, thus, as a result, consequently, so, in conclusion. These signal the author is wrapping up a point or the whole argument.
That makes sense.
And watch out for a common trap. Sometimes an answer choice will highlight a small detail or minor point as if it's the main claim. You have to be able to tell the difference between the central argument and the stuff that just supports it.
So filter out the noise, find the core message, and see how it's backed up. Now, what about counterarguments? If an author makes a strong case, do they have to address the other side? Or mention weaknesses in their own argument? How does the SAT handle that?
That's a really good question. Often, a really thorough or, fair-minded author will acknowledge other perspectives. They might address counterclaims, maybe even concede a small point to the opposition. Doing that can actually make their own argument seem stronger, more credible.
Okay.
But you won't always find counterarguments on the SAT. Some passages just focus on building one specific case. The key isn't to expect a counterargument in every passage.
Right.
It's about recognizing one if it is there and understanding what it's doing. Is it there to be shot down? Is it a point the author is admitting is valid? Does it just add complacency?
So identify its function.
Identify its function. And one more pro tip for arguments. Don't just spot the evidence. Think about its quality. Is it strong evidence? Is it actually relevant to the claim being made? An author might throw evidence at you, but you need to evaluate if it's good evidence. That's the deeper analysis.
Okay, wow. So bringing this all back together then.
Yeah.
The big picture from Chapter 7 on rhetoric seems to be these questions are constantly pushing you, the test taker, to look past just the surface information, beyond what is said, to focus really hard on how the author is saying it and why. What's their goal? It's all about those deliberate, strategic choices they make.
That really is the heart of it. These questions can feel a bit abstract sometimes, definitely.
Yeah.
Because they force you to step back from the raw information and analyze strategy. Every little piece, a single word choice, the overall structure, the point of view they adopt, their ultimate purpose, the way they build their arguments, it's all part of the author's craft. And the SAT, fundamentally, wants to see if you can think like an author yourself. Can you trace how all these elements work together to create the final message and influence the reader?
It's about understanding the art and maybe the science of communication and persuasion.
Exactly, the art and the science.
Well, we have covered a lot of ground today. Hopefully, we've given you a really clear, solid roadmap for handling these rhetoric questions on the SAT.
Yeah, we've hit all the main skills, the strategies, the question types.
And those official tips straight from the study guide. Our aim was really to make sure you feel like you understand this chapter completely, that you have practical tools you can use on test day.
And it's worth remembering, this knowledge.
Yeah.
It's most powerful when you actually use it, apply it.
Right.
These aren't just SAT tricks, these skills. They help you understand any kind of writing you come across. Articles, books, emails, anything.
That's a great point. So thinking beyond the SAT,
Yeah.
what does this all mean for you listening right now? Maybe consider this. How could using this rhetorical lens really think about word choice, structure, point of view, purpose, arguments? How could that change the way you read the news? Or how you analyze articles for school? Or even just how you interpret everyday conversations? What deeper layers of communication could you start noticing if you consistently ask how and why?
It really can change how you see communication everywhere. A very powerful shift.
It really can be. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. We've now covered Chapter 7 on rhetoric, start to finish, hitting every skill and strategy. We really appreciate you being part of the Deep Dive family.